Good morning, afternoon in some parts of the country. Today we have Dr. Dusty Dubois with us. She is out of Bothell, Washington, and we had a conversation offline about how we can best help students when they're applying for positions, associateships, preceptorships, and what we look for as doctors so you can avoid the pitfalls from applying for those jobs. So,
Good morning.
what time is it? Are you 10:30 or are you 9:30?
It's 9:30.
9:30. Okay, so we're in the same time zone now that there was daylight savings. So
Yes.
I want to put a shout out to all the students who are graduating. I know we have a huge graduating class from Life West in December and in March. So we want to help you to get the job that you are looking for. And it was interesting being at the associate fair a couple of weeks, or I guess it was just last week, last Thursday. And some of the comments that the students had or questions that the students had that were looking for a position. I'm sure you get this a lot because you have a huge associate practice, Dusty. Um, but one of the funny things that happened when I was at the associate fair was I was trying to find out what the students were looking for and to see if it would be a good fit. And the one thing that I found in common was that students weren't so concerned with philosophy or how you practice as opposed to what they were going to get paid. And that was the first question out of a few of their mouths. And so to me, and I'm sure to you too, Dusty, that's almost an automatic disqualifier.
Yeah, on the surface it seems like that, but the students have real financial concerns. So it has to be in the foremost of their mind. Are they going to be able to make it? Are they going to be able to pay their student loans? Are they going to, how is their life going to be? So obviously that is a concern, but it shouldn't be the first thing out of your mouth on any level.
Agreed. And I totally get that. Like, don't get us wrong. We understand you are coming out of school with a ton of debt usually, and you're just trying to figure out how can I get paid to do what I love and to serve chiropractic. And I get that.
Yes.
And there are things that are not more important, but just as important to make sure that it's a good fit for you. Because if you just go for the dollar and not for a great practice, a great opportunity, sometimes you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Right. I do find that a lot of the doctors that have associates, they structure their associateship in, I think it's a wrong way, where they put the associate in a role, and that role is either the adjusting doctor or the exam doctor. Those roles generally will make more money immediately after school. Why do you suppose that would be?
Because that's the only opportunity that they have. There's no potential for growth.
Yeah, that's
right?
it. They're going to churn and burn you. That's
Yep.
it. They're going to get as much juice out of that turnip as they possibly can, because you're pure overhead at that point. So I'm educating doctors across the country to have a different style of associateship, which is let the doctor build their practice within a practice and do all the things that a chiropractor does. So you need to be very careful about following the big money up front. I will tell you, in my associateship, I made $2,500 a month. And I came out of school with $120,000 of debt. And that was my base salary. And it was low. But it was low because I wasn't intended to live on that. I was intended to grow my practice. And I left that associateship more than 10 years ago, making over $250,000 a year. So had I gone for the big initial money, I'd probably still be a struggling chiropractor, not understanding how to build a business.
Well, and I think it's also a disservice to the students coming out if we don't let them know that there is that opportunity. There are a lot of great docs that you and I both know that have these great opportunities that want to help those doctors fresh out of school or have been out a year, help build their practice and teach them how to run the business.
Yes.
You know, I want to see them be successful. that's my big thing is like, I want to see more chiropractors be successful and not struggling. And hey, sis, if you're out there listening, give us a wave or a hello or a question, and we'd be happy to answer it. If you're watching it live, also, if you're watching it recorded, we'd be happy to answer any questions you have after if you're watching it. So I'm with you. We talk about the financial part of it. What are some other interesting questions that you have had when you're interviewing associates?
It's usually about the money. It's usually about their days off. I have two different batches of associates. One are the fresh, new out of school ones, and the I just got to squirrel.
Sorry.
The fresh ones out of school, and then the ones that have already been out there and done it themselves. So I'm going to backpedal a little bit because my most successful associates have been the ones that have already been out there, done it themselves, realize how difficult it is to run a practice, to do chiropractic, to make a profit when you don't even know what you don't know. So I love the ones that come to me and say, I just want to do chiropractic and make some good money for a change. So those are the ones that have very realistic expectations and great work ethic, and they're generally a little bit older. The new grads, they don't know what they don't know yet. They don't even know the questions to ask. And it's been interesting doing these interviews with the new grads to see what questions they have of us when at the end of the interview. And one of the last ones we interviewed, he wanted to know, how many patients do you see a week? Which is the forever question in chiropractic. So he got a little education for a process from me on that.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think that, we've learned a lot of the business stuff. We've both been out a number of years, 10 plus. I'm not going to say how long. And yeah. And I want to address that because number of patients, you hear this at all the seminars. How many patients do you see? How many patients do you see? But what we've learned is that if you're seeing, let's just use 100 because it's a round number, 100 patients a week, and you look at your profit from those patients and it's only $7, or maybe you're paying some of them to come in. I don't know, but that's not the most important part. Of course, we want to serve as many people as we can, but we also have to keep our doors open. My
favorite saying is, the best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them. The biggest philanthropists
Yes.
in the world are, billionaires, and they can help people because they help themselves first. So I'm the charity of me first, and I'm the charity of everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. And we want to teach those young doctors how to do that also. I had a contractor come out yesterday to replace a toilet in my house, and he wouldn't take any money from me. And I'm like, no, you're taking money from me. No, I just want to help. And I was like, no, I'm paying you because I want you to stay in business. Here's my check. This is what I think that was worth.
Yeah.
But, it makes me realize too, like, we can't always give away charity. I mean, as chiropractors, I think we all have this helping charitable heart. But we also have to pay ourselves first. So,
there was two recent interviews that we did. One was for a preceptor, and one was a new grad. And one of my questions is, how did you get your numbers in clinic? What did you do to attract new patients? And it was shocking. The schools they're just handing them patients. They're not teaching them at all how to go out, find patients, how to network, how to build rapport, how to talk chiropractic and get them in the door. They are graduating with zero concept of how to attract a patient to your business. And I'm here to tell you, you don't just put a sign on your door and they come in. It is a hard fought battle to get those patients in. And one was from Logan and one was from Palmer, and neither one had been taught how to go get patients.
And we were taught that in school too. Just hang your shingle, they'll show up. Get on all the provider lists, they'll show up. And it doesn't happen like that. I think the biggest learning experience, and I think if students on there, if you are listening, the biggest favor you can do yourself is become an associate and learn as much as you can. Think of that like an extension of your education. I
Yes.
know that they don't know what they don't know, but the more success that we can have with these students and these new grads fresh out of school, the longer they're going to stay in practice and be successful. And so just think of it as your education is just being extended and you're actually getting paid to learn. As opposed to going to school, you're going to be getting practical experience. And it's okay. Like for me, it's okay if you have a time frame on it. Like I'm going to do that for a year, or I'm going to do that for a year and a half or 2 years, but have a time frame of I'm here to learn. And yes, as a bonus, I'm going to build a practice and learn how to do it. So when I go out on my own, that I know how to do this and I'm not just spinning my wheels. Learn from people who have done it. There's no need to recreate that wheel.
Yeah, I put a poll in our one of our chiropractic groups about advantages of being an associate. Can I kind of click some of the ones off that everybody?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Learning from someone more experienced, so you don't have to make your own mistakes on your own dime. That was the number one. And then not having to deal with employees. That would be my number one. But whatever. Having a safety net with a base salary, so that if money is tight, maybe you have a lot of PI liens, you're still going to be able to pay your bills. Teamwork. This is a really fun one for me. Being in the trenches together makes it not so lonely. Being a solo practitioner, that's one of the major advantages I hear from my doc saying, it's so nice to be in a group and we're in it together. In my practice, we are like a professional sports team. So we play together, but we're paid individually. Mm-hmm. So if so-and-so, some quarterback, makes a touchdown, nobody else gets paid more in that game, but the team grows together. Everybody has their individual contracts. So that's how we've worked that. And it works really well because that allows us freedom, days off. If you have a family and you want to go see your kids' recital or soccer game, or you want to take a vacation, your patients are taken care of, you're paid, all that stuff.
It's a benefit to the practice too, because if you're a solo practitioner, the big thing I hear is I don't take vacation because I don't have somebody to cover, or I'm looking for a coverage doc, and they work all the time. And the benefit to having multiple doctors, or even more than one, is that you can take that vacation. We all need that playtime. We all need that rest and restoration.
Very much.
And your practice doesn't have to suffer because of it. You still get paid, even though you're not there.
And more importantly, the patient still stays on their care plan.
Absolutely.
Yep. I find it weird when you tell patients they have to be 3 times a week, but you're not offering enough days so that they can come in. So in our practice, because there's a team approach, we're open literally 6 days a week and plenty of time off. And our patients, there's no excuses.
Right.
They can come in 6 days a week and stay on their care plans. The list is really exhaustive. The list to becoming an associate, actually after reading it, I thought, maybe I'll go work for someone. Was much longer than the benefits of being an owner.
For sure. And I think that's something that fresh new grads don't realize either. Like there's this glamour to owning your own practice, and there is. I mean, it's wonderful looking at it from the outside in, but you also have to realize what that takes internally and what that takes to actually build and run a practice. Like looking from the outside in, you're like, oh, I want to be like that doctor. I want to have a practice like they have. But they had to learn along the way. They had some struggles. They've put in their time. They've put in their effort to get to where they are. And so you can't bypass those steps. You still have to go through the learning process. And like you said, why not learn on someone else's dime and from somebody who's already done it? Make those mistakes where you can learn from them and they won't paralyze you.
The stories of these chiropractors becoming Uber drivers. And, I know one that went to work for a fish tank cleaning company. It's on and on. Well, you have to do what you have to do to get the food on the table for your family. So, good on you if you're, hustling to make that happen, but it doesn't have to be that way. And my real problem in school, and it was this way 20 years ago, that they really talk to you about starting your own business, which is ridiculous. You don't even know how to be a good chiropractor yet, let alone a business owner. And it's tragic. I think that everybody should associate at least 2 years right out of school. I associated for 10 years. So and I had great associateship. I had a lot more freedoms and probably a lot more money than I have now.
It's so true. I look back and I wouldn't trade that time for anything. And I look back and I've always wanted to have my own practice. And that's why I got into chiropractic. It was either chiropractic or business that I wanted to get into. And it just happened to be a great combination of both. But out of the gate, I did associate too. I associated for, I think, 6 years before I opened my own practice. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. Yeah. So
I assure you that's why I am the success I am today. And I never had to drive for Uber because it didn't exist back then. I always did chiropractic, and I got to do what I love. And right out of school, you get to hone in your skills. You get to learn the business on the side and absorb as much as you possibly can. My doctor was great. All I did was I thought, he did that and he's successful. I'm going to do that. Like, for example, joining our board, Washington State Chiropractic Association. I never knew why I did it. He did it, so I did it. He did that, I did that. And you just can reproduce success along the way if you do it right.
And if you have your eyes open and are a sponge and you want to learn.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And one other thing on that, it's the work ethic right now is so different. I went in there as an associate and I made myself so valuable, he could not do without me. And then therefore, I was rewarded greatly. Now, what I'm seeing with the new docs is they come in and they say, pay me and I'll do great. And I show them the door. That's not how it works. You have to create so much need for that clinic director to have you that they will reward you because they don't want to do without you. The millennials have it completely backwards, and that's what's messing them up.
It's an interesting viewpoint. I mean, I feel very fortunate that we have a fantastic associate, that she didn't have that mentality. And I know that there are some out there, but I think we can all learn from that. Like, I think as the seasoned doc, we are much more set in our ways, and we know what we want. We know what's been successful, and we have to be able to kind of bob with the millennials, and not in that way, but we sort of have to massage them a little more than we ever have in the past. So
it's been an interesting few years with that. So agreed.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other funny. If you're on the line and you're watching live, go ahead and put your funny stories in, or your comments, or things that you've encountered hiring associates. I think the number one of the pitfalls is that when an associate gets hired, or the doc doing the hiring, which you're training on, is that their philosophies don't match. Like if they are say they have some experience and they're used to being in a closed room environment, and you come into our office and it's open, that's a completely different set of skills and mindset than it is being in a closed room. Or if you're used to seeing one patient every 15 minutes, and you step into a practice that sees 5 patients every 15 minutes, again, that's a different mindset. So I think those things have to be in line, as well as technique. I know you talk a lot about technique, and, we all have to be doing the same thing. If we're all playing on the same team, we can't have a team that, it's a football team, and then we have a hockey player on the football team. Like,
well, I mean, the cross-check, that correlates, but leave it to the Canadian to say the hockey team, eh?
Right.
There has to be definitely philosophy. I can't have a instrument only adjuster in my practice because we won't cross over very well. We need to be 80% aligned, and then we can have 20%, really unique things. So
Yeah, I totally agree. Like if somebody, Dr. Jen has this great shoulder move. I adjust shoulders differently, but some people prefer that. So I'll adjust them and they'll be like, oh, oh, Dr. Jen's going to come and adjust your shoulder. Like there's, like you said, that 20%. So it's okay to have some different tools in your bag. And I think as seasoned practitioners, we probably have a lot compared to a new grad. And it's not to say that they can't learn that, but there are going to be some things that are different. But then also from a philosophical standpoint, being in a pain clinic or a work comp clinic is very different than being in a wellness clinic or a corrective care clinic.
Yeah. Back to the shoulder adjustment. I cannot pull somebody's head like that. If there was a gun to my head, I would die. I try. One time I got a 15-year-old cavitate. That's it. I keep trying. I can't do it. So that's not my move. But I can pull ears like nobody's business, and I'm the rib queen. And even when we've had really seasoned associates, we just, hey, Dr. G, can you come pull this ear? Yeah, you can pull their head. It's great. What do you do if you're a solo practitioner? Sorry for your congested ear. Go see Dr. Dubois down the road. Yeah, no, it's five different second opinions, second, third, fourth, fifth opinions, all in one. Everybody wins. There is zero. I'm trying to find a disadvantage to having practice this way, and there just isn't. It's just great. And I'm training doctors to have the same style of practice. I'm training new grads to ask the right questions. If your base is $8,000 a month, you should question why that is that way, because that is something you're going to turn and burn. They're going to turn and burn you.
Yeah, I think that something you said earlier, even about being that solo practitioner and being lonely. When I talk to docs about wanting to advertise and trying to find out what they want in an associate, that's one of the biggest things I hear. Is they feel like, well, I feel so alone. Like I want somebody to share my practice with, and whether that's as an associate, a partner, a buy-in, whatever it is. So I always say that, more brains, the better. And like you just said, you don't have to go somewhere else for a second opinion. If you don't like my style of adjusting, there's 2 other doctors or 3 other doctors there that can adjust a different way or a different pressure. Yeah. And we do have people in our practice that just want to see each one of us, which kind of messes shit up, to be honest with you. But they don't have to go elsewhere. They can still be in our practice.
Yeah, but I have a solution for that. It doesn't mess stuff up. It's how you have it structured. Anyway, we can talk offline.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. Well, yeah. I really appreciate you coming on today. And if anybody is looking for an associate, please reach out. I'm happy to field that for you, as well as any students that are looking for associateships. I've got over 200 doctors that are looking for new grads, seasoned grads, looking for someone to join their practice. So please PM me, reach out on email, go to kairosconnect.com and let me know. I'd be happy to help place you. Anyways, thank you, Dusty. Have a wonderful Friday, and we'll talk soon. Stay on the line for a few.
Okay, and thank you for putting this together. It's really helpful for us docs, and I wish we had something like this when I was graduating from school. So let's get the word out, everybody. Share this with every doctor you know and every student you know, so that we can connect the right people together. Okay.
Absolutely. That's the name of the game, collaboration.
Yes. Goodbye.